Today's video is sponsored by the Ridge wallet, which achieved great success on Kickstarter and has now sold over 250,000 wallets worldwide. The wallets are sleek and minimalistic, allowing you to carry everything you need without all of the clutter. My personal favourite is the titanium gunmetal wallet, as I really love the smart titanium design, but there are many different designs to choose from, and all wallets also come with RFID blocking, thanks to the titanium, carbon or aluminium metal plates, which will stop your card details from being stolen. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping by going to ridgewallet.com/censoredgaming or by checking out the link in the description. Today we'll be taking a look at some of the ways that Kid Icarus Uprising was changed when it was brought over from Japan to English countries. Kid Icarus Uprising is a third-person shooter for the Nintendo 3DS, with quite a big focus on story and dialogue. Whilst there aren't many graphical differences between regions, you can however find a lot of differences in the way the game was translated from the original Japanese script. The English localizers took a lot of liberties with the English script, as was spoke about by the game's Japanese creator in this interview with IGN. Here, creator Masahiro Sakurai explains. As for how Uprising's over-the-top English localization came to be, Sakurai admitted he gave Nintendo of America a lot of leeway so the game would be enjoyable for native speakers of English. The Japanese version is definitely very comedic too, he said. It's something that takes advantage of the nuances of Japanese conversation, and not all of it works directly in English. We had Nintendo of America handle the localization, and I told them to change the meaning and content as much as they want, that I wanted conversations that sound natural and enjoyable to a native speaker. This translation freedom also seems to have extended to the game's cover art, which has quite an interesting difference between the Japanese version on the left and the English release on the right. As shown, the two versions are nearly identical, but with a few subtle changes. One of these being that over in Japan, Pitt is presented as smiling, whereas outside of Japan his expression was changed to look more serious. This change was likely made due to Nintendo of America feeling that a more serious looking Pitt would be a better marketing strategy over in the US. Similar changes have been made to many of the Kirby games over in the West, with Kirby often being presented more cute over in Japan, but being made to look more determined in English due to believing this is a style that the West prefers. In fact, curiously, Kid Icarus Uprising's creator Masahiro Sakurai is also the creator of the Kirby games. As mentioned though, it wasn't just the marketing style that was different in Japan, but you can also find all kinds of differences in the game's translation. Some of these are more subtle than others, or are just due to Japanese jokes that wouldn't work as well in English. Some of these differences are more notable though, and this video will give a few examples of some of the more interesting ones. First though, a big thanks to the YouTubers milkyFlandre and MrMalicar for not only translating, but also adding subtitles to many of the Japanese scenes. Across these two channels you'll be able to find a vast amount of the game translated, and if that's something you're interested in checking out, you'll be able to find a link in the description. Back to a few of the more interesting differences though. A curious change can even be found in one of the game's trailers leading up to its release. First up is the English trailer.
Ooh, a hot spring!
This coming from the guy who can't even be bothered to take his clothes off.
I need to be prepared at all times.
Is that the only reason? Really?
Well, it does save on laundry.
Ha! I knew it!
In the Japanese version, Pitt's reason for not wanting to get undressed isn't because of saving on laundry, but because of being worried that poor Latina will look.
脱いでもいいのよ。見てないから。
見てますよね。
見てないですって。
There's a scene similar to this one in the actual game, except it's Magnus talking to Pitt about why he won't take his clothes off. In the English version, Pitt says it's because he doesn't want to steam the sacred buns.
Wait, is this? It is! A hot spring!
Apparently someone likes his spa time.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
You go in fully dressed? Don't you at least want to change into a swimming tunic or something?
Oh, no. The Angel's Code of Conduct says that we must always be ready for duty.
I guess you wouldn't be an angel if you didn't do things by the book.
Yeah. And I don't want to steam the sacred buns.
We're done talking about this.
Over in Japan though, Pitt says that he doesn't want Magnus to see his butt. A more curious change occurs in Chapter 9, following defeating the boss Underworld Gatekeeper. In the Japanese version, Pitt hurts himself in the process, saying that he overdid it, whilst poor Latina comforts him, saying that he didn't break any bones. Nintendo Treehouse, however, changed this so Pit doesn't have any issues at all and acts confident and cocky.
And that's how you take out a boss.
For future reference, face kicking isn't usually this effective.
Get a move on before more defenses show up.
Batu's right. We should go, even if it means taking orders from him.
Thanks, Batu. Please stop calling me that.
Hey, get ready to go in.
You may have also noticed how Pit isn't given the nickname Pitu over in Japan, but instead Blappy. This is because Pit's name in Japan is Black Pit instead, and Blappy is an abbreviation of this. It's possible that this was changed over in the West due to racial connotations, but this isn't known for certain, and it's also far from the only name that was changed during the game's localization. Viridi, for instance, isn't known as Viridi in the Japanese version, but instead she is called Nature. Viridi is the goddess of nature, which is where her Japanese name comes from. The English name, on the other hand, is based on the Latin word for the color green, as well as youthfulness. Of course, Japanese players having the name Nature being in English would seem foreign and more interesting, which wouldn't have carried over to English players and is likely why it was changed. Another naming change can in fact be found with the game's name itself. Over in Japan, Kid Icarus Uprising is instead called New Light Mythology Paulitina's Mirror. This isn't a new change though, as the original 1986 game for the NES was called Light Mythology Paulitina's Mirror, whilst the English version was called Kid Icarus. But for our final change for today, we take a look at the final battle with Hades, which doesn't just have a translation difference, but has the actual scene altered over in the West. The English version has Hades sneeze during his and Pit's verbal exchange.
Hello again, Pit.
Hades. 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 Excuse you. But anyway.
Over in Japan though, Pit is the one to sneeze, and this even comes with unique graphics to go along. It's not known why this decision was made, but perhaps it was like the box art changes, wanting Pit to be perceived as more serious over in the West. What do you think of these changes made to the game, and what game should Censored Gaming take a look at next? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing if videos on regional differences like this are something you are interested in. And until next time, thank you for watching.